welcome back to the apocalypse. Hopefully everybody's doing well at home, stuck in lockdown. It's a very sunny day here, but the sunlight is a little bit diffuse because it's having to shine through all this smog, which is normal here, of course. But it was really nice back when everything was shut down and the sky was clear. But I'm used to this. I almost miss it when I get out of the smog. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're making. At this point, a lot of the factories seem to be making things for nothing because there's no orders for anything. So they're just making to make stuff, if that makes any sense. Especially steel, that sort of thing. They're just literally producing it for nothing. To keep the economy going. Although I don't know where the money's coming from to keep the economy going when there's no demand for anything. I'm not an economic genius, so what can I say? Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan is here, but I do know what the plan was before the whole crisis started. You see all of these buildings out here, especially those ones over there, they're all empty. These are mostly empty. A lot of these are just, well, they're investment properties. In order to keep the economy going, and the state-run enterprises that produce steel and concrete and who knows what else for construction, they just keep building houses and telling everybody that it's a good investment. And it has been. I mean, people have made a lot of money out of buying and selling properties here. Unfortunately, that can't continue forever. Just ask anyone who's been living in the United States before and since 2008. Bubbles burst, and I'm afraid that this crisis is the needle that's coming to burst the bubble. So, but they're still working on them, they're still building, and I suspect that they're probably going to continue to, well, the government that is, they're just going to continue building and building and building, and that's craziness, isn't it? That's what happens when everything is centralized. They can't turn the ship around, it's too big. That's why whenever I hear people talk about the Chinese economy is so dynamic, and no, the American economy is dynamic. It works like water. When things go bad, it takes the shape of whatever bowl it happens to be in. It's because it's not centralized. It's not working on some kind of weird 5-year plan. That's just my thoughts. There's probably economists that'll disagree with me. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll hear it and they'll say, wow, yeah, maybe that idiot is right. I don't know. But that's what I see. So even though this disaster is hit and people are out of work and there's no orders coming in from factories, which is the real driving force of the economy here, export, they're going to keep rolling on forward with this same old plan that they put together for the next 5 years, and just keep building houses and keep... we're just going to keep rolling forward, even if that's not going to work. And maybe it'll work. Maybe if we pretend hard enough, it'll work. Yeah, out the window you can see all kinds of construction happening out there. New buildings going up over there. The ones over there, they're fairly new. I've watched them build those as I've lived here. There's more over there. Yesterday in the video I went over the bridge, and you got to look at the new economic zone. That's all new construction. Lots and lots of empty houses and empty buildings over there. And I'm afraid that with this new economic problem it's biting down as we speak, they'll probably remain empty, just like that office building that's been completed on the outside the entire time that I've lived here. So, empty. No work happening there. And no work will probably... That state will continue for a while, I think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But something tells me I'm not wrong. Alright, so today you guys are in for a special treat. Yes, I'm in here preparing to make lunch. I'm going to try to make fried rice again. Hopefully I don't dump all the vegetables. But as I was saying, you guys are in for a special treat because my wife is going to be joining us to talk about a topic that is most irksome to me. whenever I hear it here in China. White privilege. Yes, white privilege. This was all sparked by a comment from a viewer. And today I'm going to be talking about myself. I personally think that this white privilege stuff is an illusion in China. And what people think is white privilege is actually not white privilege. And my wife may have some different opinions, but I guess you guys can find out when we actually talk about it. But first I have to make this food. Remember, important for any fried rice, some eggs. Gotta have it. Of course, I'm not a very good cook. This is my last chance, by the way. If this fried rice doesn't turn out, then I'm never going to be able to make fried rice again. There we go. Now, to see if she likes it. Lunchtime. So, as promised, here is my wife, and we can ask her some, well, I can ask her some questions. You guys can't really ask some questions. Maybe you can put some questions in the comments for next time if you want to ask her something, but I thought I'd start with the most important question of all. How was my fried rice?
I prefer my fried rice.
I guess I'm done forever making fried rice. So, as I mentioned earlier, the topic I wanted to talk about today was white privilege. So, I want to ask, is white privilege a thing in China? Is it something that actually exists?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. I suppose, for when you refer to that specific term, a lot of times they're talking about white men specifically, getting favors from Chinese people. So
Favors.
yeah, for example, but also because the culture is so different, like in Asia in general, not just limited to China, people are very, they really care about the looks, your appearance, how you look, and also most Asians, they prefer big eyes and white skin, so those are, advantages for foreigners. I mean, since they have white skin and big eyes, so a lot of times they get some advantages because of their appearance.
Tell me specifically what kind of advantages do they get?
So I would say it's more like what trash people are like. So they normally go to a bar or places and get free drinks or get some extra stuff from Chinese places. But at the same time, they also get attractions from Chinese girls. So now, a lot of times it happens that way because most of Chinese ladies, they have not been abroad somewhere, so they don't really know much about the foreign culture and background. So what they learned are specifically from the books. Obvious, that's very different from the real life. So, they think foreigners, when they come to China, they are normally very well off, and they're well off. At least they got some money and such. So therefore, a lot of Chinese ladies are attracted to that as well. On top of their white skin and appearances.
See, this is where I disagree about that being white privilege. I think that the reason they're attracted to these guys is simply because they're exotic. They're different. Just like what you said, they've read things in the book, they haven't really been abroad. The same thing happens in the United States. Let's say there's some Italian guy, for example, and he shows up at the bar, and he's, kind of a handsome guy, and he's got a lot of charisma. Guess what? In the United States, this Italian guy's also going to attract all the girls. He might not get free drinks, but
the people that own the clubs in China know that people will come to their club because of that. They're interested in this exotic thing. So if I have foreigners in my club, in my bar, those ladies will come in and they'll spend money. So, of course, they offer them free drinks or whatever. And it's just a scheme to get people to come in. It's nothing to do with white privilege. It's not because you're special or you're better than anybody or anybody thinks that you're better that they're giving you those drinks. It's just simply a marketing scheme.
Well, foreigners get special treatments in China. Mainly, as I said, there are many reasons for that. So the first one would be appearance. So Asians in general, we prefer like white skin, big eyes, and such. Then on top of that, they have the misconception of like how foreigners like how they got money and such. So then the third one would be like some of them they just may be attracted to foreigners. So as simple as that. But if you talk, you talk about how foreigners get the white, more specifically, to the white people about the white privileges. But obvious the black people don't get any special privileges here, obvious there would be some racist comments there. But, I would say like that happens to Asians too. Like in China or Asia in general, it happens to white men. But when Asian ladies go to Europe and such, or Latin America, not as much as in North America. I mean, more specifically Canada and America. But in Europe, and you also get the Asian privilege, I would say, because as an Asian lady who goes to Europe, you get a lot of attentions. I experienced that myself, and I was traveling to Europe quite so many times. I guess I'm very familiar with Europe and everything, but every time when I go there, I get a lot of attentions in public, whether I wanted it or not, but it's there, and the locals always try to talk to me as well. So, and sometimes, actually very often, they even invite me for food and drinks, and they pay for it too. So that's like, I would call it Asian privileges.
See, I just see that again as an example of the exotic thing. So if you're in Europe, specifically, there's not as many Asian people. So an Asian lady is exotic, and, well, that's interesting. So people are going to show a lot of attention to that. Versus if you went to the United States or Canada, where there are lots and lots of Asian people, and there have been for a long time, you're probably not going to see nearly as much attention because you're no longer exotic. You're just like everybody else.
But also the culture is different. Obviously, in Asia, people are generally more nicer, and they are more than willing to, help you or like get to know you, that sort of thing. But in like America or Canada, that's not the case. They in public they might appear, or they might appear to be friendly and such, but it's really harder to, like, they're not nice in general, I would say.
Well, that brings me to another question. So, speaking of white privilege, and how did you only marry me because of my white privilege? I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just joking. She knows better. She lived in the United States, so.
Yeah, if I was going for looks, I probably would choose you.
Whoa, hold on a second here. What are you saying? You don't like my hat?
Oh, other things. I would, I suppose if I'm the typical Asian, or what the typical Asian is, looking for, I would probably not choose you.
Oh.
But that's just, how it is. I mean, when you're in Asia as a white guy, you typically get, you know, more attention and like more favors. Like it depends on like what you're into, you know, in different places. But obvious, you know, on top of that, they just want your money or they want something from you. Obvious. It's not like, you know, obvious. I mean, people are nice in general, but if you're like, there are people who would be attracted to you because of what you got or what you have.
And that also reminds me, I think in another video we can talk about what most of the foreigners are like here in China and what they do, and but then in another video. So just to wrap up, I still think that the white privilege, as I grew up knowing the term to be, it doesn't exist in China. This other type of, what if you want to call that white privilege, being, I guess, privileged to be able to find girlfriends, I guess, that I guess exists if you hang out at clubs and bars, but I still say white privilege doesn't exist in China. Not in the way that I understand it, anyway.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, obvious, we do have different opinions on that. But anyway, if any of you guys have questions about Chinese ladies or Chinese lifestyle or certain things of the Chinese thinking and such, just shoot us questions.
Yeah, send them into the comments. We'll get her on another video answering questions. You better say goodbye to them.
Definitely. Salut.
Salut.